Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our November District Leader meeting. We want to wish a special welcome to any new district leaders joining us today. We've had some new district leaders join even just recently from our last meeting, so we're excited to have you here today. We really appreciate all of you and that you've taken time out of your busy schedules to be here with us this morning so that we can share some updates and important information with you. You'll see on your screen, I'm sharing the agenda for today's meeting. We'll do our best to stay on track so you can get back to your daily fun within your districts and buildings. We plan to make this a productive and engaging meeting, so we'll go ahead and get started. All right. All right, we first wanted to start by just reminding you about the upcoming data and analytics showcases. You should have received an email invitation inviting you to an online data and analytics showcase featuring tools that integrate with your PowerSchool SIS. This event, it's ideal for district leaders, data and curriculum specialists, SIS coordinators, building administrators, and anyone involved in strategic planning or student performance analysis. Each of these sessions will be hosted by the tools vendor, and they will include a live demo highlighting how their solution helps districts. The sessions are also going to explore available options, compare features, and determine the best fit solution for their data and analytics goals. Both of the PowerSchool data, analytics, and insights and the Progress Book Student Analytics Lab, they're both SIS agnostic, meaning they're compatible with your PowerSchool SIS. You could use either of them. What's important to note is that these are premium tools, and so that means they do require separate licenses. These are not included in your current Meta service packages, so these would be add-ons. If you haven't registered yet, take a look, share the info with those in your district who may be interested, and you can still register to attend. The link is in the email that you received. It's also included in this presentation, which has been shared to our document repository. So you can get the link to register in either of those places. We wanted to take a moment today to share our support ticket submission best practices. So with many of the new district leaders joining us, which we're very excited about, we felt it would be helpful for them and also serve as a good reminder for everyone. Following these practices ensures faster resolutions and clearer communication, which we know is the desired outcome for everyone. So when submitting support tickets to us here at Meta, the ticket header, it should be brief, clear, and direct. So for example, you could say standards report card, standard not grayed out. That would be, direct and to the point what the issue is. You want to avoid using vague phrases like doesn't work or help or broken. Those aren't always, again, we're looking at those initial headers as they come in, as we're trying to assign them to different team members. So clear headers, they allow us to get a quick glance, get a feel for what the issue is, and get it assigned to the appropriate team member quickly. Additionally, you want to provide a clear and specific direct description. So you want to include as much detail as possible in your description. District leaders, you are the ones that are submitting tickets, but certainly you can CC any applicable user as needed to those tickets. But those submissions come from you. And with that clear description, you'll want to provide specific details. So you want to give specific examples, including, student names, their ID numbers, the staff information, dates, any of that information, again, those specific details. You want to specify if this is a building issue or if it's happening district-wide. The affected users, is it one particular user or the entire group? Maybe it's the nurses group. Again, giving that detailed information. Additionally, you'll want to include the PowerSchool screen that the issue is occurring on, if applicable, if that applies to your issue. All of these things, they help us get a better idea of what the issue is and where it's happening and how we can best get a resolution very quickly. If it's possible, we encourage you to add screenshots and attachments. With the screenshots, when you're taking those, make sure that they're clear and they include the full context. For example, if you get a full page view, that is very helpful for us because sometimes, more often than not, we look at the browser address bar. As you get into some of the child pages within PowerSchool, including that address bar lets us know exactly where you're at when you're seeing a specific issue. So including that is very helpful. We also would recommend and encourage, we ask that you create a separate case, a separate ticket for each issue, and avoid putting multiple issues in one ticket. When things are separated, it's helpful for us as we assign tickets to Meta team members. It allows us to address each issue separately in a timely manner, and it just streamlines that communication, keeping one issue at hand within a ticket. And lastly, it is helpful if you include some troubleshooting steps that you have already attempted. You can list any actions you've taken to resolve the issue. You can include any settings that you've reviewed or changes that you've made. Again, this helps paint a picture for us what you've already looked at, where we can pick up and start troubleshooting. Again, all of this in an effort to get a resolution as quickly as possible. While we're talking about support tickets, we want to thank you again to everyone who has completed the surveys following the closure of your support tickets. We truly appreciate your feedback. It helps us continue to provide the best customer service possible. If you receive a survey in the future, we would greatly appreciate if you take a minute or two to complete it. It is very brief, but it does make a big difference for us. So thank you to those who have done so. We'd like to share with you a few of our upcoming Power Hours that we have on our events calendar. We encourage you as district leaders to attend any sessions that you think interest you, and we especially encourage you to share these events with users in your district who may want to learn more about these topics or who are new in different areas. Within this presentation, again, this presentation is shared in our document repository. You'll see there's a link to our Meta events calendar here. Most of you already know how to reference that. You've bookmarked the page, but this is here if anyone needs it. But we did want to highlight, again, just some of our upcoming Power Hours. We have a new District Leader Insights Power Hour. This will be on November 20th. And this Power Hour is for any of those new or newer Meta PowerSchool district leaders. In this session, we'll review key topics relevant to this time of year. We'll provide helpful insights, all to support you in your role. We, as Meta members, a few of us will be available on that Power Hour. We'll be there to answer any questions that you have. We can share some best practices and guide you through the PowerSchool system. It's a great opportunity, again, as a new or newer district leader, to connect with other district leaders, to learn and hear from one another and get support as you are becoming more familiar with your district leader role. We also have an upcoming PowerSchool 101 question and answer session. This will be on November 25th. And this Power Hour, we're going to be answering questions and provide additional support after the initial PowerSchool 101 training. So the PowerSchool 101 training is a full training, and this is the follow-up question and answer session. So this is an open forum. Participants on the call, they can again ask any questions. They have an opportunity to clarify any concepts. We explore real world scenarios and get hands-on guidance within the admin portal. So all of this is for those new or newer to PowerSchool users. All users are welcome to attend. Participation in the initial PowerSchool 101 training, it's not required. So if a user did not join the full training, they can still attend this question and answer session, and we would encourage them to do so. Again, as we are now into November, believe it or not, those new users, they may now have encountered some issues that they have some questions on or just looking for some guidance. So we would encourage any user to join this question and answer session. We also have some upcoming health management sessions, one on November 24th and one on December 8th. A couple of health management power hours. So one will cover how it works, how to use and manage student health records. And the other is a health management session where you'll explore how to set up the health information, and that'll be setting that up at the district level. So any of those users involved in health management, you can mark your calendars to attend those two sessions. Of course, we have some other upcoming power hours that will be scheduled and on our calendar. So we encourage you to visit that periodically to see what's offered. And again, encourage your users to attend as they're able to. And finally, we do have some upcoming PowerScheduler training sessions. There's a section later on in our district leader meeting. Meredith will be talking more about PowerScheduler, so you can hear more when she speaks to that a little bit later. We have, now we're talking about the events. We have a new registration process that some of you may have already noticed. If you haven't seen it yet, we're going to walk through these steps here today. It is very straightforward. But the best part about it is you no longer need to click a separate link to register. Everything is now on the events calendar sessions details page. So when you click into an event, you'll see this new tickets section where you can complete your registration quickly and easily. So when you come to your event session, you're going to select the number of tickets. So if you're registering for yourself, obviously one. If you're registering more, you select more than one. You're going to then enter the attendee information. So again, if you are registering for yourself, that's information for yourself, or if you're registering for someone else, you're going to put that information in here, and then you're going to click Checkout Now. On the next page, this is where you will enter your information. Again, in the scenario where you are signing up users within your district, you entered their information on the previous page as the attendee. This is where you'll enter your information as the purchaser. Enter your information, and then you'll click Get Tickets. So at that point, your order is complete. You'll see the details here, but what you'll want to look for now is you will look for an email. An email will be sent upon registration. Within that email is included the link to the meeting. So you'll want to make sure you know where to grab that link for the meeting. We also encourage you to mark your calendars for any events that you register for. There are not email reminders at this time being sent out 1 to 2 days prior to the event as a reminder. Again, that is not happening at this moment, so we just want to encourage you to mark your calendars for events you sign up for. We also want to point out for some training sessions, like our PowerScheduler work sessions, they have limited seating. So for those events, you'll see various time slots. If a time slot is full, you'll see it listed as sold out. So you would want to select the time slot that's available, or if all the time slots are full, you'll then want to pick a different session day to sign up for. But that's, again, pretty straightforward. We're excited about it. It makes it much quicker. You don't have to click a link to go somewhere else separately. It's all done right there on the events page. So hopefully you'll find it more efficient when you're registering to attend events. And lastly, we just want to take a moment to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. We are so grateful to work with each of you and truly value all of our partnerships. We want everyone to enjoy the holiday, have a wonderful time with family and friends, and just remember, calories don't count on Thanksgiving, so go ahead and enjoy that extra piece of pie. At least that's what I'm telling myself. So happy Thanksgiving to everyone. That is it for the initial updates. So next, I think we're going to turn it over to Susan, who has some chronic absenteeism updates.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I know we're all super excited to hear about attendance. It's been a hot topic so far this year. House Bill 96 passed at the end of the summer, and ODU, as well as other stakeholders, have been working diligently through the law to make sure everything is communicated and, following what has been passed and how we can make that happen. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about is the big picture. The whole goal behind this is to reduce by half the chronic absence from 25.6 to 12.8 is the goal in a 5-year time period. So House Bill 410 introduced a lot of things around attendance. There was a lot of extra reporting that needed to be done, stating when students met certain thresholds, when certain notifications went out, etc. So the first big change was that to habitual truancy, a big change, and the only change really from the EMIS side is they did away with those FT events. So those will no longer be reported in EMIS. Now, that does not mean that districts no longer have to follow up on attendance or, have written notifications, make phone calls, file in court. You still have to do all that. It's just no longer needed for EMIS reporting. So we have taken the FT events you can see on the screen and moved them to an obsolete banner. Now, that being said, we will leave them there because we recognize that you as districts will, need a tracking mechanism for your internal purposes as things are still required. Now, that being said, you won't want the same notifications, parent notified of excessive absences. Excessive absences went away. So these you can control in code sets. So within code sets, you can say, and this is an example only, guys, you could set up in your code sets anything you wanted. If you wanted to say parent contacted by phone, parent contacted by email, actually send a letter, however you want to internally track what you're doing in regards to attendance, you can set up in code sets. Totally customizable for your district. So what happens when a student becomes habitually truant? All these changes took effect September 30th. There's endless help areas on the ODU website. Can you see my website, the website, Sally? I just want to make sure it's sharing screen and not.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, we can see the website.
So,
yep.
Okay. So if you just type in attendance support on ODO's website, you can see their school and district support, and you can see the blue hyperlinks. They're endless. Endless. I can't go through all these. I can't, touch base on all these. So I've pulled out some of the important things that I wanted to share and talk about with you, but these are still being updated. I believe this page was updated October 17th. Yes, October 17th. They were, they're still updating, still trying to support districts in this endeavor. Another thing I think in the big picture that we've got to keep in mind is this is a good thing, because this is letting districts do what works for them. You and I both know that, what works perhaps for, let's say, a privileged district where they have hundreds of pre-planned vacations, really just doesn't apply to maybe a lower income district where no one, applies for a pre-planned vacation. So their attendance policy might look different. If you're a rural district, you might have kids that need excuse to help with in harvest season, so an inner city district wouldn't need to address that in their attendance policies. So this is a good thing that they're still giving you local control for what works for your districts. So although we're a little, districts are getting a little frustrated by district policy. It's district policy. What's in your district policy? But it's a good thing, okay? So when they become habitually truant, again, these aren't new. They have to, in writing, the communication has to be in writing. That is not new. It was that way before. A lot of this has not changed. It's just kind of brought to the forefront. Something that has been added is local policies can include a parent guardian participation in an educational program, and it can also include the length of time and procedures used to monitor satisfactory progress. Again, that could look different in different districts, different locations, different demographics for your district. The other thing that it did away with was excessive absence. That was a House Bill 410 thing. And you can see I put a line through it. This is what it was before. Okay. And we have, with next week's release, we have eliminated this because it is no longer a thing. Okay. Again, things like out of school suspension still does not count for truancy. This has not changed. It does count for chronic absenteeism. It does not count for truancy. You can't, it's like double jeopardy. You can't say you're not allowed to come to school, but you're in trouble for not coming to school. And that is these last three columns that have always been on our truancy and chronic detail page. They have not changed. The thresholds have not changed. It's 30, 42, 72. That is all the same. This is scheduled to be released next Tuesday in our PowerSchool state release. That's always subject to the powers that be at PowerSchool that can, if it needs to be delayed, it can be delayed, but it is scheduled for next Tuesday. Okay, so that's kind of touching habitual truancy. And so now chronic absenteeism. There are big changes here. Chronic absenteeism now is all excused and unexcused. There is no medical exemption. So you can see we've changed our columns. The first column is the total excused absences for the year. And then the second column will be the total hours of all absences, excused and unexcused. added that to our explanation so you can see. The Ohio State information for each attendance code now also has an obsolete banner because there's no longer any exemption from chronic absenteeism. So that will be no longer be needed. Now, that being said, schools do not have to adjust this checkbox for FY26. We've removed the coding in the background so that, that nothing is exempt from those totals. Obviously, these should be reviewed for FY27 forward, but for FY26, these codes do not need, you don't need to go in and remove all these checkboxes and think through when this would apply, when it would not, because it just simply doesn't anymore. There are no exemptions from chronic absenteeism. Some other places that we removed the House Bill 410 references, if you have transferred or shared attendance that you're entering on the Truancy Chronic Ohio screen, you can see we've added obsolete banners there as well, because again, nothing is exempt from chronic absenteeism. So then becomes these are some questions in the FAQ on ODU's website. So should a school or district wait to communicate to parents and families until a student has missed 5% of the minimum hours for any reason? We all, myself included, got a little hung up on this 5%. Last Friday, we had the ITCs had set up a meeting with one of the attendance gurus at ODU, and he kind of explained it in a way that made more sense to me. The law says that you have to notify up to 5%. So your district policy can say 2%. I don't know why you would, but it could. And then, as you can see, it says of the minimum hours, and that's approximately 45 to 50 hours, which you all know can be different. It can be different within your district. Your high school may go less hours than your elementary, or vice versa. So that's why we can't put out an exact threshold. It can be different for your district, each single building. It's approximately 45 to 50 hours. Now, the other place we got hung up with was it says minimum hours. So we all know the minimum hours for K-6 is 910 hours. The minimum hours for community schools, no matter what grade, is 920 hours. The minimum hours for 7 through 12 is 1,001 hours. But almost every district in Ohio goes above and beyond those minimum hours. So if you wanted to say, and this is a big question we got, I want to say, my school calendar for my child, for each individual kid in each individual building on each individual attendance pattern. Okay, so if you really think about that, that's only going to hurt you because that's a higher number than this. So if you don't notify parents until that higher number, your chances of reducing are less. So it is a district decision, but really think that through. If you go 5% of the minimum hours, which is 910, it comes out to this 45 to 50 hours. If you have it's actually 45.5. If you have a 6.5 hour day, that's 7 days. But what they're trying to help you get ahead of is, yes, your chronic absenteeism on your local report card is based on each student's calendar. If they miss, 10%, then they are chronically absent. So if you are notifying them before that, hopefully you can make a bigger difference. That being said, if a student misses just 2 days a month, by November, they've met this. So this is also to help, the kiddos that miss 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Those, they stand out to you. You get them right away. But sometimes a kid misses a day every other week. They kind of get lost in the, ooh, if we continue this trend, we're going to be chronically absent. So that's what they're trying to help with here, guys. So your district can set these hours on the Truancy Chronic Absenteeism Summary Report. You can say 45.5 hours, or if you choose, you could say whatever you want. If your district goes 1,020 hours and you want to say 2% of that, then you would adjust your days here or your hours here for your report to show this is how many hours these that I need to, be in contact with and make sure that we are getting ahead of their absence. Okay. We've also adjusted the extract. So the cumulative, again, medical is now rolling into it. Medical's rolling into the summary report as well. Nothing is exempt from chronic absenteeism. We are currently working on the DAT tags. We will release them as soon as possible. It will not be next week. We're hopeful for the December release. I know that you want these for a lot of your reporting. Present, excused, unexcused, totals, all those we're working on. So I wanted to be sure and let you know that. Another key point is they have stated that this local policy has to be in place by August 1st of 2026. So if you read the next sentence, for the 25-26 school year, the department recommends schools and districts collaborate with their courts to adopt these policies and align to the law, and rather than your current practices for the years past. So that being said, they have a model policy out there that says what your district attendance policy can say is excused and unexcused. So what is your district policy? Has it even been adopted yet? Here's some things that the policy must include. And then they also have published a model policy here. So as I looked at the model policy, I wanted to draw some key points. This isn't all, please, look for yourself. But here's some that kind of stood out. So in their model policy, the board has said these are excused absences. Things that stood out to me like this: pre-enlistment into the military. You can count them as present. You don't have to count them as an absence. Local board can have additional reasons. He stated, if you're a rural district and you say the kids can have 2 days to go hunting, you can have your board policy say, we will allow 2 days hunting as excused absences. Some other things that stood out: you can mark students present for college visits up to 3 days each school year. So does your district have a policy for after the 3 days? If the student takes 5 days to visit colleges, is it excused or unexcused after the 3 that you can count as present? Other things, co-curricular and extracurricular activities can be marked as present. This isn't different like for field trips, things like that, but that's something that needs to be in your policy, in your district's policy. It also states that it doesn't apply to out of state. And if you look, there's an Ohio revised code for out of state that says there's a maximum of 24 hours per school year. Has your district addressed that? If you're close to the border and you have out of state things, if it applies to you. If not, it may not need to be part of your policy. A few things, we're having another meeting with the department next week. For the pre-planned multi-absences, does your board policy have a limit? We'll allow so many days family vacation, what have you. An open question we have to do is, can the district require a report of learning and count these days as present? I don't know. we're waiting for an answer on that. Does your district have 2 separate codes? Religious expression days, there are 3 days that parents have to provide at the beginning of the year that their student will be missing. Then there are other religious absences what's your district policy say? Are they excused? Are they unexcused? CCP is another hot topic. They've published that schools need to work with colleges and universities to confirm the student was there every day. We brought to their attention several colleges don't take attendance. We can't get that information even if we wanted to. So again, specific policy can be developed for this. So that's something that should be taken into consideration. They passed a law about driver's education, saying that they're allowed up to 2 hours a day for up to 8 hours. No more than 4 days of that 2 hours, cannot be during a core subject course. There's criteria around this. So this may require, if they go for 3 hours for driver's ed, they're only allowed 2 to be excused. So you might need, separate codes for excused and unexcused for driver's ed. We've also added we will be adding the sample student letters to your meta reports. They will be run similar to your transcripts. You can see chronic absenteeism and habitually truancy. They can be ran by student or for a group of students. This is straight off that ODU website showing, example letters that districts can use. And, we've added QR codes, which they suggest. And like I said, this is their example letters out on their website is what we will be adding. Okay, so does the report also include medical excuses as well? It still looks the same. Again, this will be in the release next Tuesday. So what you see in PowerSchool now, you are correct. The medical excuses are still being excluded currently. After the release, that won't be the case. The totals now include medical hours. That will be after the release in the chronic column. So we don't have to submit the percent of time with CCP students anymore on the FS. No, you still have to do everything the same with CCP students. You are just supposed to contact the college to see if they were absent, if it's not an on-site CCP course, and mark their attendance accordingly. Because you get a full FTE, they're expecting you to report a full day's attendance, was how it was explained. I like the Meta House Bill 410 report because it included the number of hours. Will you be revising that letter? This is much better than the letters on the due site. Obviously, these letters are unique to your districts. We've got a sample out there. You can adjust them. Those DAT tags, I'm sure, will be needed for some of that. So that may have to wait until our next release. I would also like to have the presentation separate if she can share. I can do that. Literally, I was working up, trying to get answers right up to the last minute. So absolutely, we will get the presentation out. Any other questions? Did I miss anything in chat, guys? I went over my time, sorry.
No, that's okay. Yeah, I think you got all the ones in the chat. So thank you very much, Susan.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move right along in our agenda. Next, we're going to have a MyPowerHub update. Chris Townsend, he's going to share some information on where we're at with MyPowerHub.
All right, 1 second here. Hopefully this will play nice with me. We're Testing a little technology. Let me see if I can get this PowerPoint pulled up. All right, hopefully you guys just seen that beautiful blue MyPowerHub implementation screen.
Yes, we do. You're good.
Cool beans. All right. Well, thanks everybody. I just wanted to take a few minutes to provide an update on where we currently are with MyPowerHub implementations. I'm also going to provide a brief refresher on the what, why, when, and hows of MyPowerHub implementation for everybody. So currently, as of right now, 34 districts, nearly half of our member district instances have successfully activated MyPowerHub. I want to take a second to the districts that have completed the implementation process, again, just to say thank you for that. For the districts that are yet to schedule a time for implementation, the time to do so is now. If you're not familiar with it, MyPowerHub is a family engagement platform. It brings together grades, attendance, assignments, and other things into one intuitively designed interface. So let's take a second and just touch a bit on why we're switching to this new platform. So the transition to MyPowerHub represents a significant upgrade from the current parent-student portal. One of the key benefits is its sleek, mobile-friendly design, and you did hear that. You did hear that correctly. Mobile-friendly. MyPowerHub is completely compatible with PowerSchool's mobile app, so that's one big advantage. The platform, it includes interactive power tiles, making navigation and information access more engaging and efficient. It also consolidates data from multiple PowerSchool tools and district platforms into one centralized hub, which streamlines operations and improves usability. So the integration can help minimize the need for users to log into multiple systems, saving time and reducing confusion. And the platform's modern interface and comprehensive features make it a valuable tool for enhancing family engagement and for supporting positive educational outcomes. So hopefully understanding a little bit more of the why on this, the next question would be, when can you schedule an appointment? And we actually encourage you to schedule MyPowerHub implementation as soon as you can. Again, I want to make sure that everybody is aware of this. It is important to note that implementation doesn't require immediate activation for families and students. So and for other staff if you're wanting to add them. Basically, what we're getting at is, if you get it implemented now, you'll have additional time to familiarize yourself with the platform before having to go live with it. Again, our goal at Meta is to have all districts implemented by the end of the 25-26 school year. That's because we do at this time, so basically at this time, our plan is to start phasing out the support for the parent-student portal for the 26-27 school year. And what that means is, while access is still going to be there for the current parent-student portal, things like customizations and some of the other updates that were done, to the portal to make it, work optimally with everything that we use, aren't going to be maintained with the same regularity. So again, strongly recommend early implementation. That helps to ensure a smoother transition and helps provide additional time for your district to train and adapt with this new platform. So to get started, really simple, pretty direct, pretty straightforward. There's a link at the bottom of this screen you can see. Also, if you scan that QR code, it's going to bring you right to the bookings page to start booking your appointment. So I'm just going to let this sit and stew for a minute in case anyone wants to, use their phone or grab a screenshot or whatever they want to do so that they can get this implemented as quickly as possible. But again, just wanted to take a couple of minutes of your time to refresh everybody and get my plug in to see if we can get the second half of our districts ready to go for the 26-27 school year. So that's all I had presentation wise. Looking here, where's PowerSchool having and third-party vendors integrated into MyPowerHub? So that is something that is on their their roadmap is towards working to get full integration, including things like customizable power tiles and allowing integration for some of those third-party vendors to be able to have access or have customizable tiles. At this time, they don't have anything coded for that, but that is something that's going to happen. As far as pricing for Engagement Suite, any of the Connect or Engage Power packages with PowerSchool, those are not part of what we were able to negotiate contractually with PowerSchool. So those are considered add-ons like any of our other third-party packages. If you want those additional kind of premium or upgraded functions within MyPowerHub, you're going to want to reach out to PowerSchool directly. They'll get it, and they'll get those things implemented and supported for you. There are a couple of districts that are currently using MyPowerHub. There were a couple of districts that were early adopters to it, and then so they had some extra time and decided they were going to go live with it during the school year, and they've been working through things. Of course, any new kind of application is going to have challenges. We're going to run into little things. So you're welcome to go live with it at any time with your students and parents. That's completely up to you. Basically, once we've activated it for you, it's ready to go live whenever you are. But if you're not quite there yet, again, with it being a new program, those kinds of things, it's just better to get it now, test it out, find the problems, and if we find problems and we need to fix those, we'll work with PowerSchool to make sure that they get fixed. Better to do that than not touch it at all until the beginning of the 26-27 school year, and then have to figure out issues as they come up live during that school year. Let's see what else we had. Will the third-party integration be complete prior to support being pulled from the current portal? So keep in mind, if there was a customization to the portal that exposed a screen in PowerSchool, if you can get to a screen, a PowerSchool SIS screen for parents and students from within the parent-student portal, you can get there from MyPowerHub. For anybody that hasn't gone through the implementation, creating a link yourself in MyPowerHub is way simpler than it ever was in the parent-student portal. The current parent-student portal, it was usually, hey, I want this screen to show. It doesn't show. Can it be displayed? Yes, it can. Okay, we're gonna have to get developers involved to code that in and make it show. But that isn't really needed in MyPowerHub. You can basically grab a URL link from the original parent-student portal and copy that easily into MyPowerHub. We will have some Power Hour trainings, but additionally, I believe PowerSchool is going to be offering training as well, specifically to MyPowerHub, and I believe that is something that we are working with PowerSchool to be able to have some trainings available on MyPowerHub. So again, there will be more to come on that. At this point, we're just trying to make sure that we can get as many people as possible with the application, so that when we provide the training, it's actually useful for people. Eric, hearing no guarantee of third-party commitment beyond links for support. At this time, there isn't anything for third-party beyond that, really, other than if you were if it was like a PowerSchool partner, they oftentimes have direct integration through those API interfaces within the PowerSchool SIS. So there is some in that aspect, but if you're talking about third-party plugins that don't have any kind of direct API access, correct. If it was a completely custom screen that never existed in PowerSchool, not just a plugin that's like modifying that data or updating or downloading that data, you're not going to be able to get to a screen that you never could get into the parent-student portal before. So if you couldn't get into that screen before without a major customization, you're not going to be able to get into it now. So not really a huge change as far as that goes. That's it. If there's no other questions now, again, if you do have more questions or anything along those lines, don't hesitate. Send a ticket into us. We'll get that answered as quickly as possible for you. If we don't have an answer, we'll reach out to PowerSchool and find one. All right. And again, thank you for your time on that.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah, thank you for sharing all of the information, but especially your, continued efforts to stay up to date as PowerSchool rolls out information to us. We are sharing that information with you within the districts, so we appreciate that. As well as, I neglected to say thank you to Susan. Same. Susan has been extra diligent in staying up to date with the attendance information. Again, as it is rolled out, we are actively within our team and our team members staying up to date and getting the information so that we can relay it to you. So thank you both for that.
Yeah, it is definitely, thank you, Sally. It is definitely an evolving project. No question on that. PowerSchool had ideas, things started happening with MyPowerHub. I think it became bigger than they realized it was going to get even, and so they've really started kind of diving into it. So there will be further information and more developments as things go on. I've already been working with the product manager at PowerSchool. I work with him a lot because some of the implementation has to happen on the PowerSchool side. But he's telling me there are a lot more things to come that are going to be pretty cool to provide additional integration with some of the other PowerSchool functions. So
great, thank you. All right. Next, we have Margie. Margie will be sharing with us some information regarding the last PowerSchool updates that we have applied. She's going to cover those hot topics to share with us what you may have already seen or have not seen yet. She's going to share that with you.
All right. Good morning. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
All right, well, let's just dive right in. What's new in 25.9 to 25.11.0? Yes, .1, because it came in yesterday. So we're just going to jump in on all fours and move forward here. Our first thing to keep in mind is to please keep up on your monthly checklists. I have gone in and added a link to this, so all you have to do is click on it and it takes you right into the checklists so that you can either go to the top where the table of contents are and click on the month that you need, or if you're a scroller, hey, scroll all the way down and find November because it's in there somewhere. Just please remember to keep up on these. And if you have questions on anything or you see something that might not be correct, please let us know because we're very willing and able to go in and make that correction quick to make it live on your documentation. For the 25.9, we have new features and enhancements. These are the categories that I will be going through with you so that you can see some of these updates. We've got the data dictionary, the fee enhancements, the transfer pending date, something with the vaccines, and the managed courses. So I know that you can read, but I will be touching base on all of these. So I'm just going to start right into it after I do the key fixes and resolved issues for 25.9. So as you look here, we have several updates that happened in the 25.9. The selecting forgot username and forgot password in the PowerSchool Hub mobile application no longer throws an error. You've got the duplicate co-teaching rules no longer appear and freeze the assigned additional course staff pages. Your overall system performance has been improved. Your next one at the top there is your notifications are not triggered for mass class registrations and class drops. I could go on and on and on here. You can read these just as easily as I can, but I do want to point out the PowerScheduler part because we're diving into the PowerScheduler season. The server build engine now includes a feature circular team references with the course team constraints. The server builder engine no longer gets stuck during validation. This is huge for those of you that are coming back this year. You may want to try that again. I think it works better. The server build engine no longer crashes during post-build process when certain section types exists. Again, I will let you read those other 2 or 3 sections, but you can always refer back to these. The biggest thing is make sure you're going into the releases and looking at these releases. There's some pertinent information in there. The next part I'm going to talk about is the data dictionary updates. If you want to go to the data dictionary updates, that's in your system management, data and data dictionary. This was added. It connects directly to the live database on the server, and it also displays most tables, including those added through the database extensions. Now you can easily search through the table for the field names. You can type as little as 2 characters right here to get you started. The search looks for anything that contains your text. So partial matches work too. For each field, you can see its original database, the length, and any changes made to the data validation. So it does give you some nice information here. Plus, it clearly shows each field is marked as required. Next part I'm going into are fees. Unpaid fees can be included now when transferring a student from one building to another. And as long as you enable this feature, you will be able to see this, and I will take you through the steps to do that. If you just go to district management, district setup, additional system preferences, and then you're going to want to check that box for the allow option to transfer fees with students. So I'm going to take you through Oak Middle School to show you how that works and where you need to do that. As long as you put this allow options to transfer, you will get this information. So here you can see we're in Oak Middle School, and these are the free transactions for the student that we have. If you transfer this student out, once you transfer the student out and you transfer to another school, this will appear as long as you've done this part again. So you'll be able to click the transfer unpaid fees and submit. Once you submit, when you go to your other school, which I did Maple Middle School here, you can see in Maple Middle School, you can see the transfer, the school it was transferred from, and the year it was transferred. So that is really a nice feature, I think, with the fees, is that when you're transferring fees, you do have that ability to see all of that information as long as you push that transfer information for the students. Another nice feature that we have now is used to be on the transfer out pending. That's all you had was the transfer out. Now it shows the date that that student is actually going to be transferred out. I love this feature because there are many times that I'm like, okay, this kid's pending transfer. When are they being transferred? So it's just nice to be able to see that date on there. And as far as the health screen is concerned, you can now have all of your dates go in chronological order. As long as you go to district management, health setup, if you click on the enable dose date validation, you will now be able to see all of your dates in your health screen in chronological order. The nice thing about this is even when you do an import, it's going to enter those dates correctly in chronological order. So I do like that feature on this one. My next one that I'm going to do is more key fixes and resolved issues. This is for the 25.10.0.0. There are 3. The printing report for multiple students sorts correctly by period, which is wonderful. When a grade scale is defined, grades not on the grade scale will not be included in the GPA calculation. And then the last one is as a part of PowerSchool Sys, you can read that, inactive deleted student record was added to the students table. This record is for future use by PowerSchool. So this record was not properly set to be excluded from state reporting. As part of this, this student record will be marked as excluded from state reporting. So that is one of their resolved issues that they had for the 25.10.0.0. Now, this next part is new. I really kind of like it. I think it will be a nice handy item for several people. There's an update to the managed course pages. As you can see, it looks a little different. This is if you're on the school level, not the district side. This is where you can see this. Number one, the available and unavailable are not going to change. So the way that you would get to this is if you click in your school, and then at the top, you will see the managed courses for this school. Once you click on that, it's going to open up your available and unavailable. Again, they stay the same, but the nice new feature is right here. You can see the search by course, or you can search by number. I do like this feature because as you're filtering, it goes in real time, so you can quickly find what you're looking for. So if you start to type in art, let's say, it's going to show everything with the course name that's active and the course number that's active with art in it. So it is a really nice feature, I believe, for the courses page. The other nice thing with this is you can now choose up to 100 rows at a time. So my last thing, which I think is really great, and it does not take out the courses that have already been marked. So here's the thing. It removes all courses from this school. So any active courses listed that aren't being used, if you click this, it will remove them all. Keep in mind, if you had students in that course and they had attendance attached, it does not take those off. It only takes off the courses that were not taught or used so far this year. I personally think this might be a helpful thing for any people that do EMIS and district leader, because when you start your staffing course, you won't have to go through all those and take those out. Also, if it's CCP stuff, you might want to leave some of those in there. So you do have some things to think about, but it is a nice little feature that they added this year. And my last part of the key fixes and resolved issues are the 25.11.0.0 and the 25.11.0.1. As you can see, there is one for attendance and one for attachments. The end of year will display correct next school if the next year grade is incorrect. Again, we've got some PowerScheduler fixes that are nice for going into the PowerScheduler season. I really like those. There are some new PowerTeacher Pro settings, like your teacher can adjust the secondary categories. That's a nice feature. They did clean up the standards. They made some of that stuff correct. The score sheet report will complete when run with no active students enrolled. The very last thing that came in yesterday were the test scores. Student records were erroneously deleted, and when adding a new student test to a student, then attempting to delete the test, that has not yet been saved for a student. So that has been corrected. So I really like that. And with all that being said, I just want to say happy Thanksgiving to everyone and happy holidays. But the most important thing to remember is if you haven't subscribed to the release notes and the data dictionaries and the insider index, I've made it friendly enough for you that you click right there and you can see all of these release notes and things that I just talked about. And I believe that is all I have.
Okay, 10:10. I hope everybody had a chance to stand up, take a quick break, and I am going to get started on what's new in meta customizations. So I will try to watch the time because, once I start talking about customizations, I get so excited. In addition to talking today about meta customizations, I want to also talk about external. So let's get started. Lots of stuff has happened, bug fixes, updates, new things. As always, we are always working to add new things to make the catalog, which is amazing already, better. So let's just find my little controls here. So a reminder, this is not new, but if there are red numbers by the Meta logo, it means that you do not have the latest catalog updates, be that enhancements or bug fixes. You have to click on that and go to the installer, click on that, and just follow. There's a little blue button that says update the installer, update the plugins. Sometimes the numbers can be a little deceiving. For instance, I had one the other day that said 1, but what that was showing me is I had one installer update, and then behind it, once that updated, on the little blue button changed and said install 15 plugins. So keep that up to date. It takes minutes, but that way you know you've always got the latest, greatest. So let's talk about things that have been updated or are new. The Meta installer, Corey's added an enhancement to it. There's a little clock, and it's a little kind of grayed out on the installer. It looks like it's grayed out. It's not. It's the debug mode. So what that does, it shows you additional information for troubleshooting. You get the install log. He's added additional logging information. So on this install log, I can see the date, the user who did it, who updated it, what got updated, what's the version, and how long did it take. Also, as you scroll through that list, that install log, those headers are now fixed. He's frozen the headers, so as you scroll, you know what you're looking at. Alert Builder reports, which is probably one of my very favorite screens. Love the Alert Builder report screen. You can go to this screen, you can click on the name of an alert, get a list of all the kids who have that alert. You can filter on that page. You can export it. You can make it your current selection. It's a really, really powerful screen. What's new with that is when you hover over one of those alert names, you'll get a pop-up. Tells you what it is, what the pop-up looks like on a student, and it will also tell you what portals you've enabled that alert on. So again, really, really nice update. There's also a filter box over here where you can start filtering. So you've now got a lot of alerts, right? If you're using your alert builder correctly. And then you want to find, I just started to type in HEA. I was going to look for health. It brought me to health office visits and medical alert. And then it would, once I check those two, it would show me the students. So really very nice new update. This one, we've talked about this one for so long, coming soon, this is coming. Phase 1 of this is here, and we're very excited about this. In PowerTeacher Pro, over on the class icon in the menu, there is now an alert page. It's a dedicated alert page. Still in PowerTeacher Pro, they can go to a student and see the alerts. They can go to the attendance in the teacher portal and see the alerts. But this is a dedicated page for alerts. A couple caveats with this is phase 1 is displaying the meta alerts. It is not displaying those core 4 core PowerSchool alerts, discipline. I think there's a guardian, other alert, and medical. But it is showing all of the meta alerts. If you have gone to your alert builder for that alert and checked the alert page. We've been telling you as you create an alert, if you check that box, even though that column is grayed out, when this screen got created, those would automatically show up. That's true. But if you didn't do that, you didn't check that little alert page, you need to go to your alert builder, go to the alert, and check that page for it to show up here. I know that because when I pulled it up, I had called Corey and said, "Oh, we don't have any alerts. It's not working." He's like, "Did you check the box?" And I was like, "Oh, no." So do that. Parent portal assignment display missing assignments. This is a very cool, brand new customization. This came about because Corey is a parent at one of our districts, and he was trying to find an easy way to see missing assignments. And he thought it was a little cumbersome the way it was. So this has been added to the grades and attendance screen in the parent portal if you enable this. Remember, grades and attendance is exactly the same screen we see on the admin side, the quick lookup screen. And what this does, it puts 3 tiles across the top right above the schedule and the grades. And it, excuse me, it will give you missing assignments, recent assignments, and upcoming. And there's a date range that my screenshot's a little blurry here, but the date range is shown at the bottom. And then there's a little more assignments, so you can scroll through that list. And the screenshot on the right is one of those assignments. When I clicked on it, it gave me more information. So really, we think parents are really, really going to like it. Those on our team that are parents that use it have given it a 4 stars. So if you want to use it, go to your catalog, turn on parent portal assignments, display missing assignments. Something else that's new that Corey has updated, the enhanced system log viewer. It's not new, but he's added to it a user filter. So if I'm going to my system logs, I need to search for something. Excuse me, I can, in the user filter, it's a drop down. I can see my users, I can choose one, and the results brings me back. There's a user column now. So very, very helpful when you have to search through those system logs. It's one of Corey's really good customizations. And then we have a whole lot of stuff. So I know these next few slides, there's a lot of stuff on. I will talk about it, each one briefly. Residency alert, we added an expiration date so that will show up. Student line size, there was a little conflict if you chose small or smaller or smallest, but you had another one that was large. They didn't play well together. So Corey's adjusted all of those. On the student demographics screen, he has added a student vehicle display color. This was something we had a really long time ago, and with the new menu it went away. And so Corey's recreated that, where when you're putting in the student vehicle information, the make, the model, license plate, there's a drop down for color, and it's actually in color. You can choose the color of the car. So at a glance, it's a nice little feature. Also, for our external customers, the the social security number customization, was not working on the core demographics page. So even not just external, if you are not using our general demographics screen, which I think almost everybody is, that field was, that functionality wasn't working. He's fixed that. But if you're not using our general demographics screen, we highly encourage you to, because it's pretty cool. Fee history, PowerSchool, and I think this was a change because it was never a problem before. If you have a large fee, for instance, $1,200, PowerSchool is now automatically adding a comma. So 1,200. That caused our fee history screen to show an NaN, which is not a number. So Corey has fixed that. He's also fixed, if you are using it's an external customization and it's JMK's fee history. If you're using that in addition to ours, it was causing his to show an extra school column. Corey has fixed that, so those two will play well together. Course section filter. So if you've got the course section filter turned on and you go to sections and you click in the filter box and filter for, say, math, and it shows me 4 math courses, I can click into the teacher schedule, the section, it will keep those 4 courses until I change my filter. So that's something new. I will talk about when we get to the externals, how this can play well with an external customization. But if you're not using the external one, you're just using ours, this is a very nice update to the customization. Lock reporting term settings. So at the school level, when you go to lock reporting terms, it will now show you what the date is, what the lock date will be. If you're at the district, which is this bottom screenshot, there's a list button beside the school. You click on the list button and it's a column called Show Terms List. Click on the list button and it will give you a grid with the term end date, what date it is going to be the lock date, and how many days after the term that lock will take effect. So lock terms is one of those things that everybody finds a little confusing. So we're trying to make it as transparent as possible by adding these lock dates for you. And then there's more. Emergency medical. On the Meta Emergency Medical page, we have removed legacy fields. We've been talking about this for probably 2 years. For 99% of you, it doesn't make any difference. You're not seeing those. For that 1%, you could be seeing an extra gray box, very faint on your emergency medical screen. That us removing it, getting rid of that gray box. So not anything you really need to know about, but if you do have that gray box, know that hopefully it'll go away now. And there was also a message key not found when you did a mass print from the emergency medical screen. That's been fixed. The screenshot assist, which is the Meta program to allow you to help you with making a screenshot. You can blur out, you can highlight. Very cool customization. It's been around for a long time. Somehow that got excluded from the applications menu. So it's been added back in. So now you can go to applications and choose screenshot assist. Code set enhancements. We had a lot of tickets saying the manual sort didn't work. The manual sort button didn't work. PowerSchool, as you know, when they make an update, they can break things. That was something they broke. They added pagination, meaning I can see that in my code sets, I have 5 pages of code sets. When they did that, that broke our manual sort. So what happens now is, with Corey's fix, is you click on manual sort, it breaks it all out into one big long page, up to 1,000. If you have more than 1,000 code sets, you have 1,001, it will again break the manual sort. That's a PowerSchool thing. I would seriously hope that none of you have more than 1,000 code sets. Meta reports, this is just, some of these things are small. This was small. There are some very small meta reports, one called, I don't even remember the name of it now. It's just a short one. But the back button said return to parameters. That report didn't have any parameters. So I'm kind of stuck there. So Corey's adjusted it. So for those reports that have been made with the report builder, if there are no parameters, the breadcrumb says return to custom reports. Ohio EMS student detail, for some reason that was showing duplicated. It only shows once now, but it's also been restricted so that only Ohio people will see that link. And quick search enhancements, the results come back in alpha order now. And previously, and I wasn't able to duplicate this, but some people were, when choosing a meta quick search, changed the student. So hopefully that has been taken care of. This is really cool. If you use Data Export Manager very much, there's a new search button that's been added at the end of the export from line. As you know, so for instance, I'm in Data Export Manager and I say show all, I get a huge list of things to look for. With the new sort button, if I click on that sort button, for instance, I want to look for standards district list. I start typing in the word standards and it's going to take me down to where I'm looking. So I don't have to scroll endlessly down there. It's an excellent new customization. And report cards. We have been spending weeks, all report cards, all the time. So we have added some enhancements. We've added some updates. We've been troubleshooting. So I just want to briefly go over what's new with the report cards. And some of these came out maybe with the last version, but since our September district leader meeting. So some you may have seen, some you may not have. The first one I want to talk about is edit principal. We get lots of tickets saying, I have a new principal. How do I change it on the report card? Your principal information is done on district, school info. We're just pulling it from there. We have a new setting that's called edit principal in the general settings. And when you click on it, depending on if you're at the district or the school, it will take you to the spot you need to go to. It will give you, if you're at the school, it pops up and says, this is a district function, and you click on it, it will take you to that list where you can click on the school. If you're in the school, it will take you directly to the field where you edit the principal or the assistant principal information. Homeroom is no longer fixed to period 1. We're talking about in the student information header. You can say homeroom is period 2 or 5 or whatever. It's a drop down. And you can configure that either by district or by school. We added section grade scale. Kind of not sure why we never did this before. We started talking about it like, why aren't we doing this? If you have a course and one section's grade scale is different than the other sections of that course, for that kid, it should pop up with the grade scale that it's using, not just the course. So it now uses the section. If there's no section, if it's not different, it uses the course grade scale. Logo placement, you can choose to have the logo on your report card show on the left. The default is for it to show to the right of the general and to the left of student info, but if you want to move it over, you can choose that. There's a setting, another setting, align with the school name or under. That's only if you are using the default right. Left is just, we're moving it to the left. We had a request for course description. People would like the course description to show on the courses container. That's been added. And then this is a big one. If you are using a standards-based report card and you have a boatload of standards in a block, for instance, all of your ELA standards, and you've got 40 standards, or math, you've got all your math standards and you have a lot. And you are not choosing to use the function where you don't show the standards if they don't have a grade. You want to see all the standards. The default is keep all those standards together. So imagine your ELA standards, you've got them all together and they are your first set on your report card. What that does is moves it all down to page 2. So between your header and page 2, you've just got all this big blank space. So we have a new setting where you can have those standards break across the page when printing. It still shows up correctly online. It looks fine when you look at it on the screen, but when you print it, if you choose the setting that says when printing, keep standards together and say allow standards to split across columns, it will put as many as it can in column 1. It'll move the rest to column 2 and then break across the page. So that could make your printing report card smaller. It's just another way to work with your standards. So that is new, and it's a really nice customization. Teacher label, we added settings to control the display and the label for withdrawn teacher for the standards report card. We've had it for the traditional under the courses, but we'd never added it for standards. So now we have done that. We had a ticket that we had a girl who had a apostrophe in her name, and it was causing the name to not show up correctly. Corey has adjusted that. The homeroom information will no longer be pulled from withdrawn courses. That was a bug that just kind of appeared. That's been fixed. And then let's talk about student status on your student information header. If I had chosen to show student status, clearly the instruction says student status will not show for greater than 0. I obviously can't read because I called up Corey and said, my kid does have a student status of 0. Why doesn't it show up? And he's like, no, it means it's not 0. So he's adjusted the wording. So this is much clearer for people like me who don't read. So student status only shows up for kids who are not active. You're transferred out, you're withdrawn, whatever. If they are an active kid, nothing shows for student status. And then debug. And we talked about this at the last district leader meeting, I believe, but on your report card, there's a little faint gray icon on the top right of your report card when you're looking at it. Click on that. That is your edit mode. It's really, really powerful. It shows you all of the data associated, and it will show you which things you've said you want to see and which things you don't. There were a couple things that invisible elements we weren't seeing. For instance, we always add in white, so you can't see it on the report card, but the student number for those people who have programs that access that number. But we weren't seeing it on the edit mode. We see it now. So it's just a little cleanup on the debug. But if you haven't used it, haven't looked at it, when you pull up your report card, click on that and see all the information there. I think you'll be amazed. And other things we fixed, too many courses on your standard. And I think, you know, best practices is you have a grade level, you make the grade level standards. So here's grade 1 standards, here's grade 2 standards. Occasionally, some people will make an overall standard, which, you know, we don't really recommend, but you can do it. So I will use music as an example. You have one music and standard, and you put all of your courses on it. We had somebody who had so many courses on there, it was over 4,000 characters. PowerSchool didn't like that. It would not show the report card. So Corey's found a way to get around that limit. So if you have 4,000 or 5,000 characters or whatever, it should still work, but it's not recommended best practice. So those two things are the same. The standards, too many courses, and the first thing under miscellaneous bug fix. Corey did some logic in the background. The combining course records, using the course name or the course number based on your configuration, that wasn't working as expected. That's been fixed. Fix the report card load failure when historical grades exist. Some of these things you may never see. You may never have seen them, but it was a bug either we found in testing or somebody put a ticket in. Courses were set to split. Courses with different sections were still combining, and the courses were duplicating. Corey's fixed that. School name or address was not hiding when it was selected. That's been fixed. And we had actually not one of our districts, but an external district had sent us a ticket because one of the teeny little lines that was showing above the student information block container was not the same size as the teeny little line at the bottom. So I hadn't noticed it, but evidently it bothered them. So Corey has standardized the border color and thicknesses in the student info section. This, we've told you about this probably last time. I think this is something that Lindsay mentioned. I just want to mention it again. If you're on a page that is an action page, and that would be something like Data Export Manager, for example. If you look at the URL, it ends in .action. Our help, our meta logo, those things were not displaying. They do display now. So I can, if I'm on Data Export Manager, I can still come up here to the question mark and go to my meta documentation. And that's for any page that ends in .action. So those are the meta customizations. Do we have, I don't have my chat open, so team, are there any questions in the chat?
No, ma'am.
No.
All
Okay.
answered.
Yay. Okay. So I'm going to talk about external customizations. We have all these amazing, great customizations that the customizations team manages that have been created by, I say this all the time, the brilliant mind of Corey Hilliard. But there are a lot of really great external customizations, and you may not even realize how many of those you are already using, which is why Corey's community plugin is such a great tool. So, think about some of the things that you may not know are either customizations or you think they might be ours. Multi-select, contact app builder, the student directory, mass print, log entry management, counselor teacher dashboard, all those great PSCB reports. When you go to reporting terms, final grade setup, that customization that shows you the terms, those are all external customizations that have been brought over mostly from the Exchange or from PSCB. But so don't forget that you have that really great customization page, community plugin page to look at. Some things that you need to be aware of. Customizations that you find on the open market on Exchange from a third-party vendor. We're not talking meta customizations. Other customizations are open market. Use them at your own risk. You can download them. You can get rid of them, but in most cases, those customizations are free. PSCB now has a paid subscription, but they also have some free customizations. You can find a lot of those on the PowerSchool Exchange. That's where I go to look for things that I think might be out there. Maybe we don't have it. Is it out there already on PSCB? The people who create those customizations have no obligation to keep up with them. They can create it, put it out, leave it. A great example of that is the Enhanced Parent Portal. It hasn't been updated since, I think, 2015. They don't have to. They don't have to provide you support unless they specifically in the details say, I will support you. If you go to the Exchange and click on an external customization, it will give you a lot of details, and you'll see the last time it was updated. You'll see version numbers and comments, maybe by the person who created it. Just know that they may not do anything with it after they create it. There usually is a little comment box. You can put a comment in, ask a question. They may or may not answer you because they may or may not ever be looking at that again. And the other thing to remember is Meta does not provide support for external customizations. You either have to talk to the person who created it, but Meta and PowerSchool do not provide any kind of support for those customizations. So when you send a ticket and say, hey, I'd like it to do this, or it's not doing that, there's not anything we can do about it. It's not ours. So where do we find those customizations? PowerSchool Exchange. You can use the search tool. I have a little list of things that you can look for. they have a search box. You could put in attendance and search for that. So that's your best place to find customizations. Although I think our community plugin is an amazing place to look for customizations. In that community plugin, there's a suggested column. That's where people can go to those customizations and vote for them. Hey, I really like this one. I'm going to click on the thumbs up, and you can even sort that column so you can see what customizations have the most votes. If I'm not using it, I might want to download it, and I can download it right from that community plugin page. Third-party vendors like PSCB, Aurora EdTech, and some other developers have their own websites. You could go to plugin configuration, click on a plugin from one of them that you've already got, click, and it will show you the email address. So you could go to their site. Ooh, I went too far. You can go to their site. You can sign on to PSCB. You may have to create an account to look at what's new with some of their customizations. The other thing is word of mouth. Linda called me and said, hey, I see this really great customization. Let's try it out. If you have a test server, that is awesome because you can download it, try it out on your test server, see how you like it, play with it. You like it, put it on production. If you don't have a test server, you can still put it on your production server. Just know that you want to test it and you want to make sure that it plays well with everything else. If it doesn't, then get rid of it. Another great place to see, to hear about customizations is Jason Springle's Insider broadcasts, because he's constantly saying, hey, here's something great. Kind of how our catalog even got a start was he started mentioning how great the catalog was, Corey's PS.DAT reference and contacts. And so word of mouth, very powerful. How do I get them? Again, I would go to the community plugin screen that you see in your PowerSchool instance. I would go to PowerSchool Exchange, and all you need to do is click on download. That saves it to your computer. You go to plugin configuration and install it. You choose your file, and then you have to enable it. So it's a pretty easy process to do. Again, we don't provide support for those. So here's, you've seen the screen before. It's our community plugin. I can see these are external. There are a few meta things, but mostly these are external. You can see what needs updated, and then you can update it. You can see what things are not enabled. You've installed them, but you haven't enabled them. You're not using them. You can see there are a whole lot of things here not installed, and you can then see which of your externals are up to date. Here's your suggested column. Again, you can click on that to sort that. Obviously, Mass Print has a whole lot of thumbs up. Seating chart viewer, it doesn't have as many, but it's great. You can go to the admin side and on the teacher schedule, and you see that little icon, or on your course sections, you can see the icon that says seating chart. Click on it. That's the customization that adds it. People just haven't clicked the little thumbs up. Doesn't mean it's not great. Doesn't mean it doesn't work. It just means that nobody has said, yeah, hey, I really like this. I'm going to give it a thumbs up. So I can click over here to go there and download it. So that's why this is a really, really great page to use. I have a link right here to go to plugin configuration once I've downloaded it. So use this screen. So I started to put together this list of some cool stuff. Check it out. You may already have these. You may already be using them, but there are a couple new things that I don't know that people are using. The ones that I thought were worth you looking at, I put an extra little asterisk on them. The speedy student list, faster even than quick export. And you can do it from the start page. So that's one you might want to look at. The numbers over here on the right are the number you can use to search for this in PowerSchool Exchange. It's the ID number for that customization. The RSD menu filter is the one when I was talking about course section filter, our course section filter. Theirs allows you to have a toggle between course section filter and teacher schedules, but their course section one didn't keep the four things together, the whatever you search for sections together. Ours does. So Corey has fixed ours, so it plays well with this one. Shows you the teacher schedule, but also keeps our functionality. So those two things can work well together. Duplicate mass entry for log entries. You can add it for multiple students. Enhanced GPA methods. Quick School, I know a lot of you or some of you already have Quick School turned on. What that will do for you, it gives you in your header, instead of having to use the school switcher where you drop down and scroll down, puts little buttons with your schools. And some people have said, well, I don't really need that. I only have 3 schools. I don't need it. The nice thing about that one is if you use the buttons to click on different schools, it keeps you on the same page that you are on. Where if you go to School Switcher, it takes you back to the start page. You have to go look at, find the screen you were on. The Quick School will keep that page. There's a health dashboard, like a teacher dashboard, counselor dashboard. This is one that Linda found. She thought people would really like the attendance time entry quick buttons. When you're doing your attendance entry, it adds the current time and start end of day buttons to the edit daily attendance time page. And so you just click on it and it puts that information in for you. So you may want to check that one out. That we thought was a pretty cool one. Dependent section is another one Linda found. It will alert you when, you know how when you put your dependent sections, you're putting the section, the comma, the next one, it will pop up if you've put a space in there. So it just helps you. Course request tally report. I think that's one that our schedulers really like. There's a missing assignments package. You could check that out. Enrollment notes. And this presentation will be posted just like all our other ones with the district leader information. So you can always go here and look at this again and print it out. It's not like you have to write it down right now. Attendance today, most of you are probably already using that. Power Teacher log entry management, I would say most of you are using that. If you are not, you want to use that one. It allows you to control or allow log entry display for your teachers. Very nice one. You can go again to the Exchange. You can go to community plugins, search for PSCB. There's a lot. There were really too many to list. The other thing I would say that you want to search for are enterprise reports. I know we will be having a Power Hour sometime in the future over enterprise reports. That is a really powerful tool that I hope that you are using. And there are some out there on the exchange, some new enterprise reports. So how do you troubleshoot? I have this external one. I've enabled it. Maybe something's not working. And I kind of mentioned this earlier, but you have to contact the person who created that customization. Just like if you have an issue with a third-party vendor, unfortunately, we can't help you. You have to talk to your support person for a third-party vendor. Think of these external customizations the same way. You can find the creator information on the community plugin screen. Look on Exchange and look at the plugin detail screen. And again, we don't give you support for those, and neither does PowerSchool. PowerSchool will not give you support for ours either. As soon as we talk to PowerSchool, they're like, yeah, you got a customization, not touching it. So thank you. Well, maybe I should find out. Does anybody have any questions about externals? Is there anything in the chat, guys?
Not about customizations.
Okay.
We're going to take some questions at the end about everything, but yeah, any
Okay.
questions about customizations? Yeah.
If not, this presentation is with the district leader meeting. If you have questions, as everybody has said, you can put a ticket in. We'd be more than happy to help you. So thanks. I know I kind of tried to stay on time. I'm a couple minutes over, but I could talk endlessly about customizations. So thanks.
Thank you, Sarah. Lots of good things in the catalog. So if you're not as familiar with it, take a look. Yes.
And, you know, I really didn't even put everything in it. I mean, there's some things behind the scenes, stuff you don't care about, stuff you may never see. So, a little bit about the customization team. We meet twice a week. We go over what's new. You give us suggestions. We try to always look at bug fixes. So there's always something happening with the catalog.
It's always fun. It's always fun.
It is
okay.
fun.
All right. We're going to move right along on our agenda. We have some PowerScheduler updates. Meredith will be presenting that. But prior to that, Stephen Parpart is going to be speaking.
Hey everyone, I just wanted to introduce our new team member, Reagan. She joined the team this summer. We're very excited to have her. And
Stephen, it's kind of hard to hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had my microphone turned up because I was talking for a while.
Thanks.
Let me start over. Hey, everybody. Meredith Reagan joined our team over the summer. We're very excited to have her, and she's going to be talking PowerScheduler updates for the next couple of minutes. But I wanted to introduce her, let you all know she's joined the team. We're excited, and you'll be seeing her on the trainings and at the work days coming up very soon. So I'll hand it off to Meredith.
Thank you, Stephen. Are you guys able to see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so I will just be briefly going over some PowerScheduler updates. As Stephen said, my name is Meredith Reagan, excited to be joining the team for Power Scheduling season. So hopefully you recognize a lot of these faces, but our lovely scheduling team, we've got Kim Anderson, Mark Dahlman, Margie Lee, Stephen Parpart, and myself, Meredith Reagan, and we will be the scheduling team for this year. Okay, so the training process for PowerScheduler scheduling is a multi-step process. So we actually began this training last week with our scheduling overview and some scenario planning. So that first training on there is the PowerSchool scheduling overview. So that is going to be anything that is, we basically it's an informative session where we discussed everything from kind of a wide, broad view of scheduling. If you have any new schedulers on your team, would definitely recommend that they attend one of these sessions. But really, we welcome all schedulers, new and seasoned alike, can benefit from attending that session. The next session, where that first overview is a group session, the PowerScheduler scenario planning are individualized sessions that your schedulers can sign up for. So this isn't anything where we have anything to present. Really, what we are there to do is help your team brainstorm if you have any big changes that you're making to your schedule for the 26-27 school years, starting to think about how you might implement those changes. So it will be a few members, any members from your scheduling team that would like to attend, and then a couple members from our team to kind of help you with that, get that process started. The third training on there, the PowerScheduler Automated Scheduler Setup. Again, that's back to the full group training, and we do say that this is required really because this is an essential part for PowerScheduler users. So we're going to be walking through that automated scheduler setup with the scheduling, with us as the scheduling team and the schedulers who attend. And they'll actually be going through the process and the steps of setting that up so they can get the foundation of their scenario built. Again, that one will be a full group virtual training. The last training on there is the PowerScheduler Student Requests Setup and Teacher Recommendations. So that's going to be another full group training. The Student Requests Setup, if your district or your school doesn't use that yet, and you're interested in learning about what those student request screens look like, we definitely recommend them. And so if you're interested, would definitely recommend attending one of those sessions. And then the teacher recommendations as well. So how to set those up in PowerSchool and how those sort of interact with each other. So we started, like I said, last week with those virtual trainings, but if your district hasn't attended any yet, no worries. We are repeating those each month. And so we have scenario planning, auto scheduler setup coming up later in the month. And then we also have more overviews scheduled into December and January. So everything that I mentioned on this previous slide is going to be offered again. And this is all going to be on our Meta calendar, which I'm going to show you something about in just a minute. So in addition to those training sessions, just like in previous years, we're going to be having work days that are going to begin in mid-January, and those will both be virtual and in-person options in the Meta offices for the work days. So again, that will work similarly as it has in years past. Your team can either sign up for a virtual session and work through some of where they're at in the scheduling process, or you can come in person and we will be there, the Meta team will be there to help with any questions that you might have as you work through building your schedule for next year. So I'm going to, like I said, in a minute, I'm going to show you on the calendar one thing about those trainings. But in the meantime, as a district leader, there are a couple of things that you want to be thinking about and completing before schedulers can schedule. So the first of those is going to be to create the full year term on the live side. So that will need to be done at both the district level and the building level. And this is just the full year term. For scheduling purposes, you don't have to worry about semesters or quarters quite yet, or any other smaller span of time. It's just that full year 26-27 term must be created on the live side. And if you don't know your exact start and end dates for your school year next year, that's okay. You can estimate dates if you have to, knowing that you'll go back and correct those later once you get updated information. But the first one is just creating that full year term on the live side. The second thing that as a district leader you want to think about in terms of scheduling are your courses. So setting up courses and cleaning up available courses at the district level is a good thing to do at the start of scheduling before schedulers really get into the scheduling season. Obviously, you're not going to know every single change to your courses, what you may be offering next year, what you may not be offering, but anything that you do know right now and you can clean up in your curriculum is going to be helpful for schedulers, because the further they get along in their scheduling process, it will be more difficult if those courses aren't quite set up for next year. And then the third thing is looking at student fields next school and sched next year grade field on scheduling pages for all students. So this will just make sure that students are both in the appropriate school for PowerScheduler next year and then also in the correct grade. So those are the three things that you'll want to make sure that you do as schedulers start scheduling. There is a document in our documentation called pre-scheduling planning, I believe. It's PowerScheduler pre-scheduling steps or pre-scheduling planning. And that will go over this in a little bit more detail if you're unsure on how to do any of these. And if you still have questions, of course, you can put in a case and we can help you with that. Sally talked about our new calendar and how you sign up for events. There's just one thing I wanted to point out in terms of signing up for scheduling trainings. Again, those group sessions, so the overview and the auto schedule setup are going to be pretty typical signups. For the scenario planning, since that one is specifically just one-on-one, in a sense, with your team and our team, you're going to sign up, or your schedulers are going to sign up for a specific slot of time. And we just ask, and I think we put a note in here too, that only one representative per school actually registers for the session, just so that we have spots available for other people too. So one person will register and they can send that Zoom invitation to others once they receive that. So just wanted to make a note about that there. Let me get back to my, okay. And then lastly, I know it seems far away, but as we all know, it will be here before we know it. The final day in PowerScheduler is going to be June 12th, 2026. So what that means is that any work that your schedulers intend to do within PowerScheduler must be completed before that date. And then our scheduling team will go through the commit process to get those schedules over to the live side. And then there's always additional scheduling, minor tweaks made, individual student schedules changed on the live side after that end of year process. But you really want to, it's absolutely required that everything in PowerScheduler is completed prior to that June 12th date. And we're looking forward to continuing with these trainings and the work days, which we'll talk more about the work days, I'm sure, at our January district leader meeting. But in the meantime, if you or any of your schedulers have questions, you can always reach out to our email here, ps.scheduling.support@metasolutions, and we will be happy to help you.
Well, thank you again for attending today. We appreciate you making time to join us. Everyone have a great rest of your day. Have a wonderful holiday.